Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Entre Artistas with Chad Austin. We have the honor today to have a winner of the Grammy in 2008 for the opera Dr. Atomic. Also, Chad was named for the Abington Theater companies, the first producing artistic director. So we have a superstar for theater here with us. Hi, Chad, how are you doing?
Hi, Miguel. I'm good. You're so kind. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me and giving me that reminder of the past.
Yes, yes, you're an amazing artist, an amazing teacher. I miss you a lot, miss your class. So I would like to start the projects you are doing right now.
Sure. As you mentioned, I'm the producing artistic director of Abington Theater Company, which is currently in our 31st season producing new works off Broadway. So it's everything from concerts to plays to large events, all creating new work in the New York City and direct a lot of those pieces as well. And I just last week directed a new play called Maybe Tomorrow, starring Justin Bartha from the film series The Hangover and Kelly Giddish from NBC's Law and Order SVU. So it was a really wonderful night that we hope to bring that piece back to the theater next year, hopefully.
That's nice. That's nice. I wish you all the success.
Thank you, my friend.
So this is the start for the second seasons of interview, and I wanted to start with you this season. Could you share a little bit to the audience, foremost the Latin American audience, how did you start to become what you are right now? Because my God, I'm really impressed, and I always admire all you have done. So could you share a little bit of your background and what was the path, the difficulties, and everything?
Of course, and thank you, thank you. You know how I feel about you,
Yeah.
and so I'll say that out loud to everyone how much I adore and love you.
Thank you.
So I moved to New York City over 20 something years ago, and have been really lucky to have a career somewhere involved in the arts, whether I was performing myself, I was a dancer, as of course you know, Miguel,
Yes.
I was an actor. I went through that journey really having a lot of I'll call it success, but I was very happy performing. And then I also, when I stopped performing, I actually started teaching, and that was not something that I was certain that I would lean into as much as I ended up leaning into it. But actually, by the time you were my student, I had many classes and many students, and I really loved it so much. And within that, I also realized that I wanted to hopefully give back to students some of the experiences that I had to help them propel them into their own career path. And I also started that, considering choreographing. I started working overseas as a choreographer a little bit more, and then started working in the city as a choreographer, an assistant director, a director. So that's what I've been doing mostly for the last 5 or 6 years, and then was in line with the institution Abington Theater Company. That's a little bit of a nutshell of how I got there.
Yes, of course, of course. He's an unbelievable dancer and choreographer. Um, I remember that he used to do a lot of mock auditions in his class. It was amazing, but at the same time was terrifying because he was trying always to make us do it professionally. So could you talk about a little bit of how is the process for you to have in your company dancers, actors who are not dancers, but they have the capability to be movers? What do you expect from them?
What I do like to have, as you know, a very high standard of work, because I think that this career path is incredibly challenging, and if you put the work in, you will get the outcome, you will get the result that you're looking for. You have to keep going back, you have to keep rehearsing, you have to keep going to those auditions. So I think for me, I just like to meet people where they are with their abilities. But I say, and you may recall this from my class or not, I always say you will get as much out of my class as you give to my class.
Yes.
Oh, and you're a perfect example. I won't embarrass you on your own show, but I'll say, you came into my class with very limited dance abilities and probably very limited desire for dance abilities, and you left my class. You can tell the audience how you left my class. You left my class a completely different person,
Yes.
a person that was not only have, if I may say so, not only had the skills needed, but what I saw in you was the passion that all of a sudden, correct me if I'm wrong, you went from someone who probably dreaded coming to my class. I totally understand that. You dreaded coming to my class, to coming to multiple classes to get better, to never missing a class, to
Yes.
having the pride of working hard on something and how that affects the rest of your career path as well. And I would always say this in my training process with people. I would say, if you don't end up, you may not end up being on Broadway or off Broadway or even wanting to continue being a performer,
Yes.
but all these skills about working hard and passionate about what you're doing you're going to use those in the rest of your day-to-day life. So I try to instill that when I'm in charge.
Yes, and I was asking that because I remember the first semester of the 4 semesters I had in the conservatory was very difficult for me because I wasn't used to have this kind of discipline, toughness, to be focused in something. And Chad gave me that. I'm so glad that he taught me that, to be disciplined. To something that he always said is, there are two things that I don't accept in my class, even though you is the first time you dance. You never say no, and you never say I can't. You die doing it. And I had a big lesson, not only for performing arts, but for life. It was amazing. And that leads to the other question I want to ask you, Chad, because I've been asked sometimes a little bit of that, of the dancing part. So, when is the best time to start to be a dancer? And when is the best time for a person to say, okay, I'm going to retire?
Yeah, well, I mean, the second part of that question, the best time to retire, I mean, I think if you ask a dancer, they're going to always say there is no good time to retire, because as a dancer, movement is so ingrained in your body. It's a very personal experience when you can't move
Yes.
maybe the way that you used to move when you were 20 and 25, and then you're 40. It's very different. It's like your body has we feel the same way as if you would wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden you couldn't move your right arm because it was in a cast. Dancers feel a certain way because we communicate with our body, and we feel a certain way during movement. So I don't know if there's an answer when the best time is to retire, but I also know that when the older you get, and I haven't danced in a while, and if I went into a studio and had to teach a class the way I used to teach a class with you, my knees might be problematic, and my extension certainly would not be what it used to be. So yeah, I think it's all very personal for dancers when they retire, how they feel about it. I felt very good about retiring as a performer because I really found this passion to continue the work through
Yes.
students and through um, my work as a director and a choreographer and a teacher, as I said already. But so I felt really good about it. So I could sort of put my shoes away and feel like I did this for myself. And then as far as people starting, you know how I feel probably. I think you can start at any age because I've watched kids go from non-dancers to becoming professional dancers, but starting at 18 or 19, which, a lot of people think that's late. But
Yes.
if you put the work in, if you're putting the work in, I think there's nothing that can stop you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Also, I want to ask you something else. You've done so many shows, you have performed so many things. What is left for you to do? Something like you dream, oh, I would like to direct this, I would like to produce this. Is there anything that you still want to do, like something really big?
Huh, that is a great question. I think I think there definitely is. I don't normally work on, it's interesting because I'm asked a lot about goals, and I probably should set more goals for myself, but I've had such a, I'll use the word lucky because I think some of it is lucky. I've been in the right place at the right time and had some lucky experience and some amazing collaborators. And I got to work on Jesus Christ Superstar live on NBC with John Legend and Sarah Bareilles in 2018, and that was sort of, I didn't know that was a goal of mine, but to say that I, was part of the Emmy award winning production of Jesus Christ Superstar on NBC is sort of like goal. I didn't know it was a goal. So like cross it off. And I do talk about this a lot because people ask this question a lot. And I think instead of for me about expectations for something that I want to do, I sometimes think about just keeping the doors open, and that way when opportunities do come up, I don't feel like I've missed out on something because I didn't um accomplish a goal that I set for myself. Like I don't have a goal of directing something on Broadway, but if they, I would, that would be amazing. So I could make that goal for myself, but so I tend to not think of things that way, for my own live in the moment kind of energies.
And I would like to tell a little anecdote that I had with Chad, because I was part of the musicals of Wedding Singer on Carousel with him. So he doesn't only teach you how to be professional on stage, but also out of stage. I remember the night before opening for Carousel, you told us, "Oh, you're going to go to the party this night. You are going to say thank you to everyone. You stay just 30 minutes and then you leave because tomorrow you have a big
Two
responsibility."
shows.
Yeah, so you cannot stay and drink and everything. You have to take care of yourself. So for me, that was like mind blowing. I never
uh,
had that before till he said that, and it's something that I keep till this day, to be the most professional I can be. So thank you for that as well, Chad.
Thank you for listening. Thank you. You're not going to remember that you went to bed at 8 o'clock the night before,
Yes,
but you did that in order to make sure that you had that ability to give the best performance. Your mind was clear and you were in the zone, as they would say, I guess.
exactly. Be sure that everything that you taught me, I will teach it to my son.
Ah,
You impact lives.
don't you make me cry, Miguel.
uh, you know, you are one of my favorites. So
You are one of my favorites, and I know I'm not supposed to have favorites in the world, but I
know.
just told my partner, I told my partner the story in the car, I think this past weekend, over how I will be so bold to say that you did not like me so much.
At the
Because
beginning.
yeah, at the beginning, and I said that's wonderful. I love that. I love that because I was challenging to him. I was asking him to do something that was completely, he thought he couldn't do it. And I told my partner, I said, this is one of the most beautiful experience I ever had as a teacher, because I said I watched him be frustrated with himself and be frustrated with me, and ultimately move past all of that frustration to accomplish what he was in the classroom to do. And, you know, you can't ask for a better outcome than that.
Thank you, thank
You
you.
can't ask for a more powerful thing as a teacher or as a director, a choreographer. You can't ask for a more beautiful thing as to give someone the challenge and for them to rise to the challenge. You can't ask for anything, in my opinion, that is more respectful to the art
Yes.
and what we're all trying to do and the work that um, has to be put into the process of being an artist.
Yes, and
And
I will
one of
be
my,
always thankful for to you for that. Yeah, thank you
well, I'm thankful
for
for you
everything.
because I mean it, because I carry that with me all the time, because that to me is the bar, the level that everyone should come up to. And when you see that it comes up to that, and the accomplishment, it is so rewarding for me as the teacher, and also obviously rewarding to the artist who has just grown, who is leaping, you know,
Yes.
who is leaping. So thank you for sharing that story. It's a I I will always have that fond memory, and please know that I will always have that
Thank you,
memory.
thank
I
you.
will always have that. I will
From
cherish that experience.
from the bottom of my heart, thank you. So, could you share your social media to the audience, foremost for Latin American people?
So my Instagram, I think that's really sort of the only thing I have, because I'm not cool enough to have a TikTok. It's just Chad Austin NYC, like Chad Austin, New York City. So you can find me at Chad Austin NYC, and we'll have lots of show things and things that you can watch all over the country. So I would love for people to tune in and follow and watch.
Okay, the audience, you already have it. The best of the best in the world. So I'm not kidding. So you'll see. So thank you very much, Chad, for this for your time. I know you have a very busy agenda for, but thank you for taking the time. Hopefully, I'll see you soon, either in New York or sometimes if you come here for my
Yes.
religious wedding, I will be waiting for you. I'll send you the
I would love
invitation.
that. I would love that. I would love that. It was my pleasure, Miguel. Thank you so much for the lovely invite and chatting and going down this memory lane. It's made my Monday. It's gonna start off my week very beautifully.
Awesome. Thank you to the audience. See you next episode. Goodbye.
Thank you,
Success to
everybody.
everyone.